special.
I can safely say this will be the biggest trade before the trade deadline.
This move is good. It won't be the last one.
And speaking of trades, the trade deadline's been heating up. Adam Schefter has breaking news.
Obviously, the Saints talking to a whole host of teams.
You don't make this move unless you think that you can make a deep playoff run.
They'll trade away a good player, though. They ain't tripping.
The window is open to compete.
Believe it or not, we are just 5 days away to the trade deadline. Can't wait to see which teams decide to make some moves, what happens with all of it. We got Adam and Peter here. Let's start with Adam. What are some names you've heard in trade rumors over the past 24 hours or so?
Well, Laura, I think there's some focus on wide receivers here leading up to the trade deadline. The New Orleans Saints have Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, and the veteran Brandon Cooks. They're working to try to re-sign Chris Olave, which would seem to indicate that they perhaps would be willing to listen on the other players like Rashid Shaheed and Brandon Cooks. Those are not the only receivers that are drawing interest across the league. Jacoby Myers could generate some interest. He's asked to be traded. The Raiders are hesitant to move him unless they got an offer that they felt was fair and substantial, and so far that has not happened nor materialized. And of course, there are questions about other players out there right now at the pass rush position, waiting to see whether any of them become free. But we've seen so far in the month of October 8 trades. 8. I would say that the over-under from now till Tuesday might be 5 more, bringing us to 13 by Tuesday. We'll see whether that comes under, whether it comes over, but I would think at least 5 more between now and Tuesday.
All right, some key info there, people. Peter, there's one division you're keeping a close eye on in the coming days. Which one is it?
I think the AFC East is fascinating. I think there's been a lot of dialogue over the Buffalo Bills' need to go and find themselves an outside receiver, a deep threat. The problem is the Buffalo Bills are in salary cap hell. They don't have the wiggle room that a lot of teams do. In fact, they're the worst in the league when it comes to current cap space. So you have to be rational here. And Bills fans might not want to hear this, but last year when they got Amari Cooper, there was some wiggle room to do so. This year, not so much. Meanwhile, the Patriots, everything's turning up Patriots right now. Obviously, they are in the driver's seat in the division with that tiebreaker over the Bills. They have the most salary cap space in the entire league. Are they going to be buyers? Now, we know they traded away Keon White. We know they traded away Kyle Duggar. But was that to clear even more cap space for one more move? And just a real quick point on the other two teams. Dolphins lose tonight. They could be sellers with guys like Bradley Chubb, Jermaine Phillips, and, of course, Matthew Judon on the roster. And then the Jets, as uplifting as that victory was last week, they're not going anywhere this year. They have a lot of players in the final year of their contract. Could they be sellers before the deadline as well?
And Peter, you bring up the Dolphins. I think the two edge rushers have drawn some attention across the league. Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb. I think teams believe that at least one of those pass rushers will be shipped out of Miami by the time the trade deadline hits Tuesday, 4 o'clock. Tonight, the Dolphins play, so this could be the last game tonight.
Oh, well, we lost you there for just a second, but the point still came across, Adam. It was great stuff. Really interesting. I mean, those two players, Chubb and Phillips, they could actually make a lot of teams a lot better, especially contenders. Thanks to you guys. All right, let's go to the Kansas City Chiefs. They're in a really good spot and quite the remarkable situation to see how this Chiefs offense has changed since Rashee Rice came back. Small sample size, of course, but the Chiefs are being blitzed half as often with Rice, but scoring touchdowns twice as often. Mahomes has also just been better, nearly a yard and a half more per pass attempt with Rice in the lineup. Dan and J-Mac at the touchscreen. Guys, we knew the offense would be better with Rice back, but why this much better?
Well, so far this season, when Patrick Mahomes throws the ball to Rashee Rice or Travis Kelce, he's 52 of 67, almost 80%, 609 yards, 351 of those yards coming after the catch. And I think, J-Mac, from an offensive perspective, when they take those two players and put them essentially hip to hip or stacked next to each other, it presents a lot of problems for defenses. So I want to start there. As a defense, when you guys are game planning, do you guys have the conversation of, hey, when Travis and Rashee are next to each other in that regard, there's a special check? Because it seems like defenses get lost with those guys.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a special check, but there's something that when you have these guys on the inside, especially a guy like Travis Kelce, when we used to play against him, we would call it a hammer technique. That defensive end would get up there and make sure he puts hands on him. The same would apply for Rashee Rice. If I'm this DB and I'm Mike Sainristil and I'm lined up across from Rashee Rice, whether we're playing man or we're playing zone, I'm going to make sure I get my hands on him and I'm physical at the line of scrimmage.
Okay, so you're telling me the most important thing is to make sure that these guys get up and physical with those two players. Because when I put them together, what I see here from an offensive perspective is if I freeze it like right there, we just saw that motion go and no one kicked with that motion.
Yep.
But the thing that stands out to have eyes here, eyes here, eyes here.
Yeah.
The whole defense has eyes on these two players, and there's this obsession that all of a sudden that motion that went across by a player who's dynamic and Xavier Worthy, nobody runs with, but everybody's paying attention to Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice.
And this is just a miscommunication. Now you have a rookie and Trey Amos here. He has to bump out. They're just playing cover 3. But that's why I go back to the point of getting physical and getting hands on those two guys, because right now they're serving as a distraction for him because of the free release. They're just running on air.
Yeah.
And this is like it's 7-on-7 right now where you have guys just running down in a jersey and they're able to get vertical right now.
Yeah, you're totally right. Look at them get free down the field without any hand contact.
Sees all of them.
No
It's all in his
restriction.
face.
Okay, I go to a clip a little bit later where you're going to get a same setting where you're going to have Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce right next to each other once again. And you're going to get relatively basic concepts. There's those two guys again. What stands out? What's going on right now here? Bobby Wagner, the veteran presence, what is he communicating? What do you think he might be talking to when it comes to those two guys there?
When I see this, I'm saying he may be alerting them to push, not knowing right now what's going to happen on this side of the field. He's saying that I'm going to need to come over here and get vertical. You also got to remember that Travis Kelce in this game has caught short passes and taken them down the sideline.
Yeah.
So you're very aware of where he is and how he can hurt you.
Now, last play you said you got to put hands on Kelce.
Yes.
It seems like they're doing that here. It also seems that Travis is maybe chipping a little bit. Why? Is this another blown coverage? Why do both defenders at the bottom of the screen both flow this way, and you leave a player like Rashee Rice completely voided in the middle of the field defensively?
This looks like a blown coverage to me, and some of it goes from I'm not sitting in their meeting rooms. This looks like cover 4 to me. Cover 4 for Bobby Wagner. He's controlled by the number 3 person in this offense. It starts out as Travis Kelce when they're lined up. It was 1, 2, then 3. Once the ball is snapped and Rashee Rice works his way into the middle, now he becomes the new number 3. He's the guy in the middle of the field. But when you're sitting in a meeting room, you're not just looking at X's and O's. For Bobby Wagner, you're saying, hey, that's Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
I have to relate to him.
I just think there's such an obsession as a defensive perspective of where's 87, where's number 4 on every play that you can lose track of others.
No doubt
and then
about
at times lose track of them because you might be so focused on a singular bat. This is going to be a completely new look for this season when it comes to their offense. There is not a single snap played by this offensive unit with the names you see on the left side of your screen all on the same team, let alone the field at one time. So this is a team that was historically good offensively last year. Most of these guys were on that team for everybody, I believe, except DeAndre Hopkins. So what do they look like? What's going to be the new wrinkle? What's going to be the new trend that they go to?
Yeah.
I would expect early on to settle Lamar in, maybe to settle some of those pieces in, ton of play action. He's become one of the best play action passing quarterbacks in the NFL. We know the threat of Derrick Henry. Use that to shore up your protection, make sure that you can create explosive plays, get the ball to your playmakers like Zay Flowers in their hands. But I want to see what this unit looks like because as great as they were last year, we just have not seen them do it this year.
I love what you're saying, and as I look at that list of names on there, one that stuck out to me was Pat Ricard. He had his first game back just this past week against the Bears, and he is a huge impact on this offense. I want you to watch him right here. That, my friends, is football. Coming down in a hole and knocking the linebacker on his butt. And when you get that and you get that run game going, it opens up what you just said, the play action pass. Lamar Jackson averaging 15 yards a pass when he's going play action, and that leads the NFL. And I think the biggest thing with that is it incorporates Zay Flowers within this offense. Yes, he gets his catch and run opportunities, but when they go play action and he's getting the ball over the middle of the field and he's able to pick up yards after the catch, to me, for a defense, especially like Miami, that you're missing so many secondary pieces, go right at them because they're going to be, first and foremost, they're going to have to stop the run.
All right, so we've called out a few guys on this Ravens offense. A lot of people are going to be watching out for Lamar. You're, Peter, though, paying attention to somebody else on that Ravens offense. Who would that be?
Yeah, last week in the fourth quarter when they put the game away, obviously Derrick Henry got the bulk of the carries. And on the final drive, another running back, Keaton Mitchell, got involved. Number 34, you might not be familiar with his name. His dad, Anthony Mitchell, played for those Ravens teams in the early 2000s. And they put the game away with a second back. It was Keaton Mitchell's time. He had 4 big carries on this final drive. He had an 8-yard carry that was negated by penalty. And I have spoken to sources in Baltimore. They've been trying to find a way to get him involved. He missed all of last year, his rookie season, with the ACL injury. This year, he is supposed to be a weapon that they can use. So as we get Likely and Ricard and, of course, Lamar back, keep an eye on number 34, Keaton Mitchell, to be used in some schemes and some different plays tonight. They're trying to get him involved in the offense more.
Such a dangerous offense, such a dangerous team because the talent, and there's also the reality that there is urgency.
Yeah.
They are backed into a corner. They do know that it's playoffs or bust or kind of win or go home mindset. I go back to meeting with them when we were calling their game last year in relation to Keaton Mitchell, and they were adamant that he was so important to their team because he brought a different level of speed that no one really else has outside of Zay Flowers. So I agree with Peter, just seeing how they use him, but man, what a dangerous offense.
Kickoff return, too.
Wow. I mean, it's interesting. As we talk about this, we're naming all these different guys that could have a major impact. They are loaded, especially now they're getting healthier. Speaking of health, there's a lot of quarterback injuries that we're monitoring this week. Let's bring Adam Schefter in here with more. Let's begin, Adam, with Jaden Daniels and his status. What do we know?
Laura, full practice this week so far, and so Jaden Daniels is tracking to play Sunday night against Seattle, even though he will be without his wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, who aggravated his quad injury and already has been ruled out. But there is hope that Jaden Daniels now will be back after practicing in full on Wednesday. Missed the one game due to the hamstring injury, but what they've seen so far this week has been encouraging. Meanwhile, the wait goes on for the 49ers quarterback, Brock Purdy, who continues